The day Selena's true love, Eric, came back to town, she told me, "Eric hasn't been doing well abroad. He's been sick, and I need to take care of him here. He left because he couldn't stand seeing me become the family's burden. Over the years, you've had a lavish life with me, but I owe him too much. I'm letting you know, not asking for your opinion." I looked at her, her eyes cold and distant with a hint of hostility. Even after 4 years of marriage, she still didn't trust me. "Thanks for letting me know," I replied. Selena seemed slightly surprised. Her lips moved, but she didn't say anything. She was always a woman of few words with me. After she left, I applied for a volunteer position in a remote area. She thought I couldn't handle hardship due to my comfortable life with her, so I needed to resolve our marriage first. For years ago, Selena's family was on the brink of bankruptcy. Her mom knew about my crush on Selena and suggested a marriage alliance. I wasn't aware of Selena's past love story at the time, so I didn't object. When Selena protested by going on a hunger strike, I went to see her. Her eyes showed only indifference towards me. "I don't love you," she stated clearly, shattering my hopes. I knew forcing a relationship wouldn't work, so I proposed breaking off the engagement to set her free. My parents were furious and put me under house arrest. They told me, "In a family like ours, we'll tolerate anything but your marriage decisions." On the 7th day of my confinement, Selena came to see me. She didn't look well, and I, nervous as could be, was sweating as I tried to explain. "I tried to call off the engagement," I said, but she interrupted. "Let's get married." For such an important life decision, she was so unemotional, like she was discussing the price of cabbage. The last bit of my rational thinking had to know why. She lowered her head in pain, took a while, and finally whispered, "He's gone and won't return." My dad told me that Eric accepted the money and disappeared from Selena's life. Back then, she was on the verge of collapse in her room. She hated him, that love she couldn't have. Seeing the tears in her eyes, I nodded, knowing she didn't love me. I believed in my youthful enthusiasm that one day she would see the good in me. So we got together, we worked, and came home together. With my family's help, Selena's family business thrived. We were inseparable, professionally successful. Our wedding felt natural. At the wedding, Selena promised to be good to me forever. She always brought back gifts from her business trips, spent holidays with my family, and held my hand in public. To outsiders, we seemed happy, but things were different behind closed doors. She slept in the study. Once, when she was drunk, I helped her to bed. Her eyes were red as she murmured, "Samuel." Feeling a sense of warmth, I leaned closer, but she suddenly grabbed my hair and slammed my head to the floor. Pain overwhelmed me. Selena, usually so kind, was full of hate. "Samuel, it's all your fault. If you hadn't liked me, my mom wouldn't have made me marry you. Eric wouldn't have taken the money to leave me, then gone abroad to meet someone terrible." Hearing this, I realized she had hated me for 4 years. I would never have a place in her heart. The pain and unfairness made my tears uncontrollable. Suddenly, she released me and cried into her hands. "How could you marry in anger? Who else loves you like I do? Now that I have my wings, and yet you belong to someone else. You say you don't want to ruin my happiness, but you are my happiness." Her outburst was because Eric had gotten married. She wasn't sober, and I held back my emotions, trembling. "Rest. I'll make you some soup." As I closed the door, tears streamed down like a waterfall. When I returned with the soup, she was asleep. The next day, Selena awoke, her refined facade restored. Seeing my bruised forehead, she was concerned. "What happened? Does it hurt?" "No, it doesn't hurt. I got up for water and hit my head by accident." She frowned, called a doctor for medication, and personally applied it. Her careful attention made me doubt if last night's events were a dream. She didn't mention Eric when sober. She never got mad at me, just smiled politely, though it never reached her eyes. Everyone said I was lucky. She had a good, stable personality. I couldn't talk about my frustration. It was like punching a pillow, useless. All I could do was convince myself that now that her love had married someone else, she would eventually change her feelings for me. But Eric's marriage was unsuccessful. He fell into an abusive relationship and was hospitalized with injuries. Selena flew out to help him financially, securing his divorce. That night, she didn't come back. The next morning, as I prepared to go to the office, my assistant informed me that Selena had hired a new secretary. I frowned, feeling uneasy. Just then, a fashionable, slim man approached. Despite his pale complexion, he seemed in good spirits. "Hi, I'm Eric," he greeted me. "Today's my first day." Lack of sleep showed on my tired face, contrasting with his neat appearance. I didn't reply. He leaned closer, a familiar expression on his face. "We should have lunch together, my treat." Before I could respond, he added, "Is something light okay? I usually like spicy food, but my husband has been keeping me on a bland diet since I haven't been well." Husband? We both knew exactly who he meant by husband. I frowned deeper, demanding, "Who's your husband? What's his name?" Surprised by my direct question, his smile faltered, and he replied, "My husband, someone you don't know. Since that's the case, let's have dinner together next time and bring our partners. It's on me. Consider it my way of being a good host." Eric's face went pale. "Okay," he said, on the verge of tears. "I'm going back to work now." My assistant looked at me, wanting to say something, but finally couldn't hold it in and said with a concerned expression, "I saw him getting out of Selena's car this morning, so you should be careful." Careful? I lost this battle from the start. Who can resist the charm of a first love? I thought Eric was doing it on purpose to make me suspicious, but it turns out I was just too naive. As soon as I got to the office, Selena stormed in, glaring at me with anger. I told her, "Eric just got back and he's not well. If you're upset, take it out on me. Don't target him." Selena continued her tirade. "I've already given you the title of husband. What more do you want? I know you're upset. I brought him into the company, but Eric just got back, and I'm all he's got." She was seething, saying, "He's also dealing with depression. Why can't you just let it go for him?" So she assumes I'm the problem with Eric. She doesn't believe me. What's the point of explaining then? Seeing my lack of response, her anger grew. "You're in the wrong here. Explain things to Eric. You're being petty, deliberately making trouble for him, and Eric is kind-hearted. He'll forgive you." I stared at her, looking for a hint of guilt. There wasn't any, just a serious face. After a moment of heartbreak, I suddenly felt calm. "Apologizing is out of the question, Samuel." I cut her off. "If I don't apologize, are you going to fire me or divorce me?" She looked surprised, then angry. "Samuel, I didn't expect you to be so narrow-minded." She was disappointed, saying if she knew it would turn out like this, she regretted everything. Now's the time for regrets. She seemed unsure, probably because it was the first time I stood up to her. I kept a straight face. "Selena, if there's nothing else, please leave. Your first love's affairs have nothing to do with me. Let's not bother each other." Selena didn't expect me to show her out, angrily slamming the door as she left. I found it both laughable and pathetic. Married for 4 years, and her first time snapping at me was over a former love. The assistant mentioned that Eric went to Selena's office crying. She spent a long time comforting him to cheer him up. Selena even had the assistant book a cruise, treating him to sushi for lunch, and then taking him out to sea in the afternoon. The first rule of being an assistant is confidentiality. So how did mine find out? Clearly, someone wanted him to hear about it. Selena says she's not into gestures, so for my birthday and our anniversaries, it's a simple bouquet, meal, and assistant-picked gift. When I'm sick, she just drops me at the hospital and returns to work. It's always been clear whether she loves me or not. I started sorting my assets while preparing divorce papers and a resignation letter. The company belongs to Selena. I'm just a department manager. I'll quit, take what's mine, and leave it at that. When I entered Selena's office, Eric was leaning against her, acting all cozy, almost kissing. I snapped at them. "What are you doing?" Eric jumped, startled like a frightened rabbit, quickly pulling away. His face turned ghostly pale, shrinking back, his voice shaking. "Sorry, I got something in my eye, and she was just helping." He lowered his head, eyes tearful. "You guys talk. I'll step out." But Selena pulled him closer, her voice gentle. "I asked you to be H. Don't be scared." She turned to me with an annoyed glare. "Do you have something to say?" I looked right at her, nothing to explain. She arched an eyebrow, exasperated. "As you can see, It's work hours, and I'm discussing business with my new secretary. If you're feeling jealous, I can explain. I'm taking Eric for sushi, then we're going on a cruise this afternoon. Want to join? She was being spiteful, but what Selena didn't know is that someone had already spilled the beans on her plans. I blinked, handing over some documents. This month's financial report. Go ahead and sign. I glanced at my watch. The sun sets around 3 p.m. today. Better lunch early, or it'll be chilly at the beach. I looked at Eric. He's not in the best health. Easy to catch something the way he is. Selena's expression darkened. Without looking at the paperwork, she scribbled her signature, tossing the documents back with a frustrated bite. Satisfied? Enjoy your little outing. Back in my office, I saw the signed divorce papers. Tears fell like a kite with a broken string. It hurt more than I expected, like I can't breathe. I packed my things, hanging on till the last minute before heading home. Really not in the mood today. I got some kanji on my way back. Although I'm set on leaving, watching Selena and her first love have a joyous outing. All day was tough. No new updates from Selena on social media, but Eric basked in the sun and sea breeze with someone special. His short caption cut deep. He shared 5 photo grids, not entirely showing faces, but each depicting intimate angles. They took one trip, but their closeness overshadowed my 4 years with Selena. When they got back, I was finishing my kanji. Eric acted surprised. Oh, why does kanji? No nutrition in that. While talking, he pulled out several takeout boxes with sashimi, cooked food, and a cold hard steak. Samuel, I'll likely be around often. Consider this a small token. Hope you don't mind. Of course I mind. Why should I eat their leftovers? All of Eric's food appeared in his social media posts. I tossed it straight in the trash. Samuel, Selena issued a warning. Eric's eyes welled up, deeply aggrieved, asking if I didn't like the food. He crouched down, fishing the boxes from the trash. If you don't like it, I'll prepare something else. I can give these to the stray cats outside. It's getting dark and rainy. They won't find food. He crouched lower, carefully retrieving fallen pieces and placing them back. Each time he bent, tears fell onto his hands. The warm white light made his thin figure look even more frail. Having a scene at the office is one thing, but bringing it to my home too? I was shaking with anger. Once again, I threw everything he was holding into the trash. Disgusting. Such hypocrisy. Don't try that act with me. I'm not buying it. Eric clutched his shirt hem tightly, tears in his eyes as he looked at me. Samuel, you're misunderstanding. This is the best thing I could get within my current means. I get that you don't like me, but the cats and dogs are innocent. He held the food, crying as if I had wronged him greatly. Selena had enough. She rushed over, pushing me aside and gathering Eric into her embrace. I stumbled back, reaching for something to steady myself, only to fall onto the coffee table. Her eyes glared at me, filled with disdain, like I was just a stranger. Samuel, what you dismiss is the best Eric has to offer. To please you, he could only taste a little of everything, always thinking of bringing some back for you. What gives you the right to insult him? You were just born lucky. Without your parents, you'd be a nobody. I've been patient with you, but you better watch yourself. I stood there, feeling a chill across my whole body despite the heat in the room. So this was Selena speaking out for love. She seemed to forget those nights during the booth's big merger where I stayed up with her, running around to handle connections for her. Selena gently reassured Eric, treat this as your home. Feel free to command the servants as you wish. No need to please anyone. You're also the man of the house. I watched them quietly, then got up and left. I was still there, yet she called him the man of the house. What am I then? Never mind, just a few more days, and once the procedures are done, I'll leave. I didn't get a wink of sleep that night. Early the next day, just as I was finally drifting off, Selena came up with Eric. Sunlight hit him through the window, his beautiful face cold as he looked at me. Eric had nightmares all night. This room has a peace charm. Let him sleep here. Her tone left no room for negotiation. I was born at midnight, had a weak body as a child. My grandma said my presence attracted bad things, so she'd have a charm placed in my room every year. I don't know if it works, but she made me promise to keep doing it. So every year on the first day of the Lunar New Year, I'd have a master come for peace, not just for me, but so Grandma could rest peacefully in heaven. Selena knew this. Selena stared intensely at me. You've been pampered your whole life. To you, this is just another room. What's the point? To me, it was my bridal room, my expectation of love, my hope for marriage, for the woman of the house. Never mind. I said, you're right. She looked displeased, suddenly tearing down the peace charm and smashing it. They're dead. Why keep this stuff? It's bad luck. I looked at the broken charm on the floor, bending down to pick it up. Doesn't matter now. With the divorce, these things won't go with me. I softly said, you're right. My indifferent attitude angered her. She scoffed. Eric was meant to be my lifelong companion, yet the wife role was given to you. Who are you to be jealous of him? I numbly replied, I know I'll make room for him. Let's divorce. Are you threatening me? Her voice was icy. Now it's your family begging me not to leave, not like when mine had to beg yours. Indeed, she's grown her wings now. I threw the broken charm pieces into the trash. Broken things belong there, as do unfaithful people. Your family's pleading. Selena's expression softened. She let the servants clean up and move out soon. Let's end this matter here. I forced a smile and replied, okay. One day left before Eric officially moves in. In the villa, familiar decorations were being replaced. Even my favorite lilies in the garden were uprooted and replaced with Eric's beloved roses. The roses symbolized, I love you, every day. For years ago, when I married her, the villa was empty. I designed everything from the decor to the garden, every plant meticulously chosen by me. Selena said she was busy, leaving it all to me. I thought it was respect, but when I saw Selena not going to work, accompanying Eric to furniture stores and florists, I couldn't deceive myself anymore. Opening the window, Eric stood before the rose garden, looking up at me. He smiled softly. Samuel, what do you think of the rose variety Selena picked for me? He stood in the middle of the roses in a white shirt and jeans, in the sunlight, as if waiting for his newlywed wife to take his hand. His gaze was challenging. At our wedding, Selena filled the venue with this rose garden to make up for the past 4 years, he taunted. Did you have this at your wedding? I said, you weren't her first, and for someone like Selena to marry a divorcee, you should keep it low-key or she'd lose face. His smile froze, his face turned pale, lips quivering, tears rolling silently. Selena appeared on the other side of the rose garden without a sound. Her look at me was venomous. Samuel, I'm divorcing you. You'll be a laughed-at divorce man. Both men, yet no empathy. Eric was just teasing. Last night, he urged me to treat you well. Deciding not to move in to keep our relationship unaffected, I was hesitant, but seeing your attitude, Eric is moving in tomorrow morning. Moreover, I want you to personally help him move his things. Refuse, and I'll divorce you. Clearly, Eric intended to provoke me, and she only saw him. I stood by the window, looking down at her, my expression unchanged. Fine, I said. She thought I was compromising, fearing divorce, then left with Eric. I leaned on the balcony, silently watching them go. Eric reached out first, and Selena didn't hesitate to hold his hand. Immediately, I saw him tiptoe and whisper something in her ear, then look back at me with a triumphant smile. I stayed unfazed. Suddenly, Selena grabbed his hand and started running. Like in a movie where the leading lady pulls the white shirt hero, and together they sprint toward happiness. Right then, I felt like the third wheel, wrecking their relationship. That night, I went home and told my parents about my decision. I expected backlash since business circles value profit over emotions. I was really grateful they supported me. Dad told me to go ahead and do what I felt like doing. Mom just kept hugging me and crying. Why go abroad? Do you really have to go to a remote village? I heard there's no signal, and you won't have good food or warm clothes. You've always lived in comfort. How will you manage? Selena said the same, but who's to say it? It's impossible if you haven't tried. Later that night, Selena called. Eric's moving in tomorrow morning. Are you hiding at your parents' on purpose? I wasn't. You've got an hour to come back, or I'll have to bring Eric to get you. Selena's status in the business world is so high, even my dad would defer to her. Now she's long since abandoned the sweet demeanor she had when she first visited my home with me. I believed her threat was real. I said, I'll be right back. She sneered, that's more like it. I said goodbye to my parents and caught a cab back. I hadn't expected to find Selena at the door when I arrived. Her face was so dark it could wring water as she saw me step out of the taxi. "Why aren't you driving the car I gave you?" Her bespoke gift for our first wedding anniversary. I drove it everywhere, but after her drunken lapse, I stopped. "I just didn't feel like driving today." "It's been a while since you've driven it," she said. So she had noticed. I nodded, not wanting to waste energy making excuses. As I tried to pass by, she blocked my way. Under the streetlight, I saw a rare moment of vulnerability on her face. "Eric can never replace you. My husband's spot will always be yours. He'll move out once he's better." In the chilly night air, I felt a sting in my eyes looking at her. I sighed. "I understand. I'll welcome him tomorrow." Her tightly knitted brows finally relaxed. Every gesture of goodwill can be traced back somewhere. The next day, Selena left at dawn to pick Eric up. Meanwhile, I got up, grabbed a cab, and headed straight to the airport. To reach the mountains, I took a 3-hour flight, followed by a 4-hour train ride. After switching to a bus, then a van for 2 hours, and finally a motorbike on winding mountain roads for another hour, I arrived at the remote village where I'd be volunteering. Surrounded by mountains with sparse populations, limited internet, and poor signal, I'd only report to my parents' safety once a week. The rest of my time was spent with the kids. Though the village was poor, everyone was kind and sincere. During the day, I taught them at school. After school, they took me on mountain walks to herd sheep, enjoy the views, pick flowers, and catch little fish by the stream. Time passed quickly. Gradually, I began to forget the past, and the memories shared with Selena turned fuzzy. The ache in my heart faded through long, lonely nights waiting for someone who wouldn't come. Everything drifted away as if from another world. 2 years later, on New Year's, my mom called. "It's been 2 years. Haven't you let her go yet?" Caught off guard, I honestly replied, "I'm thinking of the kids in the mountains." My mom sounded doubtful but resigned. "She's been looking for you everywhere these past 2 years. I don't think she's let you go." I cut her off. "There's no if. Samuel, your dad caught a wild rabbit. He asked me to bring it to you. I loved rabbit, but didn't know how to cook it." Frowning, I said, "But I don't know how. Come to our house. My mom can make it." I quickly ended the call. "Mom, I never imagined a day when Selena would matter less than a rabbit to me at 10 a.m. Selena returned with Eric, anxious to explain. She hurried to Samuel's door, wanting to assure him she didn't mean it about helping Eric move. She only wanted to make it up to Eric. In 4 years of marriage, it seemed she'd only spoken coldly to him. Now, remorse filled her, regretting every careless, hurtful word that had wounded him time and again. No one answered the door, so she went to the living room where only the housekeeper was cleaning up. "Where's he?" she asked. Surprised, the housekeeper answered. "This morning he left early with some stuff." Alarmed, she asked, "Where to?" "To the booths." Earlier, all Selena had desired was for Samuel to come home, yet her words had instead asked him to return for Eric's move-in. Before his return, she had anxiously waited at the door, fearful he wouldn't come back and debating how to fetch him from Miller's. Only when spotting him did her tight expression soften, but her face turned stormy when he emerged from a taxi. Earlier, realizing Samuel's car was collecting dust, she had asked the housekeeper about it, learning he hadn't driven in quite some time. She hadn't given it much thought, but unease now crept in. Then she pushed this thought away, thinking, "No way. Samuel loves me too much to leave." Last night, after returning home, he'd gone straight to bed. She hadn't intended to ask him to help move Eric's stuff this morning. It was all in good fun. Worried, Selena rushed to the guest room and pushed open the door. It was immaculately clean, as if no one ever stayed there. On the dresser lay their wedding ring, something worn for 365 days, now removed. Selena's heart instantaneously plummeted, a tightness overwhelming her chest. He really intended to leave her. Stumbling to the garage, Selena found the car she'd gifted him, sitting perfectly parked. He'd once said he took it everywhere. Eric dropped everything and chased after her, tears blurring his vision. "Selena, please don't abandon me." He had just reached the entrance and hadn't even moved in, something he'd longed for many years. But all he could do was watch Selena's car disappear. His body collapsed onto the steps. Selena hurried to the Millers. Samuel's parents said just one thing: go to the office. Selena ran through red lights to get to the office. Samuel's assistant was already waiting for her. Selena, Samuel said this is for you. Selena looked at the signed divorce papers and suddenly remembered that day on the cruise with Eric when Samuel came with the documents. It was an ugly scene, and she didn't want any more misunderstandings. She just wanted him to leave as soon as possible, so she signed without reading it. She covered her face with her hands, and tears slipped through her fingers. Her mind went blank as heart-wrenching sobs escaped her. Only now did she realize that Eric was just an infatuation she couldn't let go of from her youth. She'd always thought she and Samuel were just in a marriage of without any emotional foundation. She didn't love him, so she distanced herself. She couldn't admit that over time she'd fallen deeply for him. At this moment, Selena finally understood that without Samuel, her life would lose all its color. She returned to the city 4 years later for New Year's. She hadn't wanted to come back, but my mom cried and asked, "Are you really going to abandon the parents who raised you over a relationship?" Initially, it was about love, but later it was about not being able to let go of the kids. My mom insisted, "Everyone else is with family on New Year's Eve. Don't you feel guilty leaving us alone?" My mom might have exaggerated, but she did truly miss me. Seeing me back made my parents very happy. My mom was like before, hugging me and crying nonstop. Dad's eyes were red. "As long as you're happy, I won't interfere anymore." Selena came to visit on New Year's Eve. She had made things difficult for my parents in the past 4 years, and even sent projects my dad's way. She wore casual clothes and a red scarf. I immediately recognized it as a gift from our first Christmas together. She looked thinner than before, the sharpness gone, now a calm, deep pool. Seeing her again, I felt unusually calm. Her hands are full of gifts. Before opening the door, my dad reminded me to keep business and personal matters separate and not let things get ugly. I accepted her New Year's gifts politely and looked at her calmly. "Selena, Happy New Year." Her voice was hoarse. "The divorce papers weren't my intention. I never wanted to divorce you." I looked at her, speaking steadily. "Selena, you say you didn't want a divorce, but you brought Eric into our home." Her brow furrowed, sadness in her eyes. She tried to explain, "I just wanted to make up for the harm to Eric. I always thought we were just a business alliance, that I didn't really have feelings for you until after you left." "Too little, too late," I said evenly. "You didn't love me, and I could endure it. I believed I could melt your stony heart, but I couldn't bear you hurting me over Eric again and again. We've been divorced 4 years now. It doesn't matter who is right or wrong anymore. My dad suggested inviting you in for tea to talk business." "Sure, if it's for me. Please take your things back and don't come again." Her face went pale, lips trembling slightly, words barely coming out. "Samuel, I've come to ask for your forgiveness. We're strangers now. Forgiveness is too heavy a word." I returned the gifts and closed the door. That door was like a divide between worlds. Selena and I would have no more crossings. The next day, my mom brought me milk, telling me Selena stayed looking up at my window all night. My dad tried talking to her 3 times, but she didn't leave until it rained, and Eric came crying to take her back. On New Year's Day, I went to a party with my mom. It was full of her friends. I found it boring, so I wandered off on my own. I didn't expect to see Eric cornered in the restroom. He looked pale, trapped, and upset. Some rich kids were taunting him ruthlessly. They called him Selena's lapdog, a twice-married man trying to edge me out unsuccessfully. The insults just kept coming. Eric was doused in wine at one point. In this sort of place, without Selena's backing, he had no choice but to endure. I stepped in to help him. Eric stared at me, full of resentment. "Samuel, all my misery is because of you. For years, and he still hasn't gotten what he wanted, yet he blames me. If you hadn't disappeared, Selena wouldn't have realized she loved you. She wouldn't have resented me these years." I rubbed my forehead. I was getting a headache. "I divorced to make room for you, and you couldn't succeed. That's my fault." His eyes were about to pop out. "If it weren't for your push and pull game, Selena wouldn't have been such a mess. And don't get smug. If you weren't from the Millers, she'd ditch you just as she ignores me. I asked, is mine the only rich family around? Besides, with Selena's status in business now, does she need a man? Maybe, just maybe, she really doesn't love you anymore. His silence was telling, though he wouldn't admit it. We were each other's first love. She loves me. Then why is she publicly single for 4 years? She should have married you by now. I can't bring myself to hate Eric. His appearance made me realize Selena wasn't someone to rely on forever. I've moved past the heart-wrenching pain of before. Seeing Eric is like seeing my past self dulled in judgment. Have you ever thought about living differently? At least don't make a woman your whole world, I said. My piece was said. There's nothing more to add. When I left, Eric was just wiping his tears. On the way home, my mom mentioned some wealthy woman wanted to set me up with someone. I've seen enough of this circle, divorced and not young. The outstanding ones won't look at me, and the older ones don't appeal to me. I laughed, telling her there are plenty of successful men these days. Being a male CEO is nice. No need to become a stepdad. My mom got it. She mentioned it to my dad, who couldn't stop grinning, pressing for me to join the company the next day so he could retire early. Once back in business, I was swamped. It all flashed me back to the days when I worked with Selena, except this time it's for me. Selena would often come to me under the guise of work, but she'd never talk about work. She knew I didn't need supplies, so she started with the heartfelt stuff. One day, it was porridge, the next a lunchbox, then Thai food, and the day after that it was Japanese. She always seemed to know just what I was craving. Now our roles are reversed. I no longer wait for her to come home for dinner, though I've long since stopped caring about those occasional gestures of hers. So I gave my assistant a warning letter. How about I introduce you to working for Selena? He panicked. Samuel, I'm sorry, I won't spill anything again. I gave him a final chance. If you see her bringing in food, don't let her in. Got it. After being turned away a few times, Selena only approached. Me about work stuff. But then I didn't expect Eric to show up. He'd lost weight and looked exhausted. It was chilly outside, so I let him into the office and had my assistant make him a hot coffee. With tears in his eyes, he apologized. It was my fault back then. If it hadn't been for me, you and Selena wouldn't have divorced. Maybe, but rehashing the past doesn't change anything. I handed him a tissue to dry his tears. He told me that after I left, Selena wouldn't even touch him now. She just deposits money into his account on schedule, won't see him, and shows nothing but disdain. He had more money than he could use, but felt suffocated. He felt sick, but couldn't pinpoint what was wrong. I listened, but couldn't find any comforting words. The dynamics between us were just too awkward. Finally, he looked weary and then cried as he asked me, Samuel, if I step aside, would you take Selena back? I shook my head. There are plenty of women in the world. He looked at me in surprise, baffled by how easily I'd let go. But then he seemed relieved. Thank you for letting her go. I stayed silent. He didn't understand Selena. She was a wolf, untamable and ambitious. Once she stopped loving, that was it. I got it, but Eric didn't. He always thought Selena's behavior was because of me. A year later, Selena announced her new relationship, the son of a jewelry tycoon. I heard Eric caused a scene before the wedding, but Selena had him thrown out by security and cut off his funds. 3 days later, I received a package from Eric. It was short. You were right. She doesn't love me. You were right. I shouldn't have made her my whole world. But I realized too late. At the end, he drew a bow, apologizing, truly sorry. I wrote back. It's never too late to wake up, but there was no recipient for my letter. Eric had taken his life. Selena and her husband were just using each other. I heard they were just playing along at a business event. People gossiped. The rumor was Selena's husband was caught cheating. Rather than feeling guilty, he brazenly claimed that a business marriage needed no love or loyalty, just money. He even suggested sending a man to Selena as a peace offering. She was furious. Hearing about her now, I felt nothing. I turned to leave, only to run into the subject of gossip herself. Her eyes were red. Samuel. Just then my phone rang. I ducked away from her reaching hand to answer. Hold on, I'm on my way down. Maybe my happy grin stung her. Her eyes went redder. I heard you're in love. I raised my hand, showing off a shiny new ring on my unmarked finger. Selena, I'm married,